everyone. So today we are going to be talking about the signs' worst traits. Usually when I talk about like astrology, I talk about it in like my spiritual intake on astrology and like the energy the signs have. Anyone can have these traits, like honestly. I'll also talk about like the color I see the signs having. Yeah, I would like to share what I think, what color the sign represents, because like their energy. Don't take this literally, like everyone's different, everyone carries a different energy, everyone walks on this earth with their own individuality. So yeah, let's start with Aries. What I think your worst trait would be. Also, I'm gonna use this grid. But yeah, let's talk about it. Aries, your worst trait would be being self-centered. The reason why is because Aries is all about the self, doing what makes you happy, just like being a know-it-all, just like being self-centered, selfish, putting yourself first. And that's all right, but some people might not like it. That is your worst trait. For the color, I say Aries, I would say it's red, obviously. Everyone thinks so. It's just because red is such a hot color, passionate color. It's like a physical color. Yeah. So next would be Leo. Your worst trait would be being egotistical. If someone were to like turn you down, you'd be like, you can't turn me down because I'm turning you down because I'm way too good for you. You just like get in your ego and like you just are very, you hold yourself to the highest standard and basically just being that way. Your color would be, Leo, I'd say would be orange. Orange is, it's a warm color. It's not hot like red, because red is more, it will like punch you. While orange is more of a warm, it's like hugging, it's like a warm hug, you know, like just warm and kind of like a hue, like, you know, it's just very like, it's like creative and like, yeah. So that's what I think your color would be. Sagittarius, I think your worst trait would be having pride. Having pride is not a bad trait, but like it's also like, you know, you are the, so basically you are gonna walk it and talk it. You just know you are, like everyone's looking at you, everyone's gawking over you, and you know it. And basically you just have pride in that. If someone were to like ask you out, you'd be like, no thanks, and you would take that as a compliment. Leo is more in the midst of, they're still insecure and sensitive. It's very whiplash. Sagittarius, they take their experiences and like they keep it with their pride. And Aries is very self-centered because like it's about what they need and like what they want, and like Aries is just self-centered where everything revolves around them. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, Sagittarius, your color would be purple, because purple is it's a whimsical color. It's very like whimsical and very magical and like a charm color, like a charm, and like very like, you're a whimsical person. It's very charming, like Prince Charming. So that's the fire signs. Air signs, okay, Libra, they are gossipy. That's their worst trait. I think your worst trait would be gossipy, being gossipy, because in all the senses, being gossipy in a sense of saying things for attention and then letting people gossip about you, so you are like the center of attention, but also gossiping about other people, so then you have their like attention. Just like being like that way of charming and like, oh my god, like I know this, and like this girl, and she like did that, like you do it in like a flirty way, but also like you would say things like, I did this last summer, so then other people would be talking about you. So like you're very like gossipy. You also make sure other people gossip about you. Libra, your color would be pink, because it's it's like being on a high, very airy, and like it's pretty, and it's a pretty color, and you like to be pretty and beautiful, or like guys like to be romantic and like just be loving and giving and being that way. Aquarius, your worst trait would be being deliberate. Very like, if you don't like their tweet or Instagram pic, you're still being deliberate. You can be just deliberate. If you flirt with this one person, then you're being deliberate. You do it in a deliberate way of like, oh, I'm unique. Like, I'm unique, you know? If you say something mean about someone, you do it in a deliberate way. Aquarius, your color would be cyan, just because it's that new type of color. It's just like a new color. Like cyan is like a mix between green and blue and like white. It's just like a different color. Like no one would think of like the color cyan. So it's like a unique color. So that would be your color. All right, Gemini. Gemini, your worst trait would be being two-faced. You can just switch with people. It's kind of like a mix of Libra and Aquarius, like being deliberate of like saying something specific about someone. And like Libra, since they're like passive with like how they do things, you become passive when it comes to confronting people, or when people confront you. You can be like, I hate this, like she's just so annoying, like, or like he's just like so annoying, like I can't stand him. But then like when they come, you're just like, hi, and just like very like two-faced. With that person, you were just gossiping, you were just talking shit. You go to that one person who you were talking about and you're like, oh my god, this person is just like so annoying. And then like when you see them, you're like, oh my god, hey. And then just like, it's very like two-faced. Like no one knows what you actually think. Or like you really did tell them how you think, but like you're just very like everywhere. Going back to Aquarius, what I mean by being deliberate is like you say certain things like to like plant seeds, you know, or like whatever, like you just like do that stuff. You keep it all to yourself, you know, like you keep your intentions to yourself. That's what I mean by like Aquarius being deliberate. Oh yeah, and Gemini, your color would be yellow, because that yellow is just so bright and like just like how you are, attention hogging. Geminis are just very uppity and very in your face, talking and thinking a lot, and just like it's rapid. Going on to Earth, because we just finished air, we'll start with Capricorn. Your worst traits would be being crooked. There's something about you is very like crooked. You make things up as you go. You're like crooked. You're like very like dishonest about like things. You're also like very twisted in your head. Like some things like you think about is just like twisted. Like you would like think about like torturing someone because you hate them so much. Being like just twisted, and it's very like it's very scary. So that's why I think about Capricorns. Their worst trait would be just being crooked, and they do like criminal stuff, like stealing. Your color would be brown, because that color is just so earthly, like just like very like a practical color, just like a boring but like still basic color. But yeah, I think your color would be brown. Next, we'll go with Taurus. Taurus, I think your worst trait would be being careless. You know yourself, and like you know how things are. You're very like methodical and very like straightforward. You have like you're just like bored. You're not very like satisfied with like people or whatever, unless like you can be. It just depends on like the person, if they have some form of value. Being careless, because you might say something very like that would like hurt someone, and like you're not very like weary of others. You're very like entitled to your opinion, what you think and what you say. Even like in acts, like you get mad at a game and like you throw your phone at the wall. You don't care like whether you break things or not, because you're not responsible for getting mad. You don't really take accountability, but like also later on maybe you will, but like you just want people to understand that things trigger you. But yeah, you're just really careless with what you do. So your color would be green, because that color is like it's an earthly color. physical and like feminine, if that makes sense. Sensual. I don't know. Like it's very like, it's a grounded. That's the word I'm looking for. Taurus are very grounded. They are like, they down to earth, embodied in their bodies. That's the word. They're very in their bodies. Next is Virgo. Your worst trait would be being cryptic. When I say that is, it's kind of like they have a past that lingers around them. They carry their past with them, with their bodies. Also very like embodied, but they're not. Like they are very like internal. A Virgo would like wave at someone and then pretend they didn't. And if that person asks them, did you just wave at me? And like they'd be like, no, I didn't. They would like lie. They would like fake it. Like that's like their worst trait. It's just like being that like making other people delusional. They do something, but they say they didn't. Oh, but I did. No, I told you I did. What are you talking about? Very confusing, and like you would not understand like what are you trying to do? Like you just don't know what they mean and like what their intention is. They struggle with like inner conflict. Should I have done that? They like feel like they shouldn't have done something. They're like conflicting and like internally, and they don't know whether they're doing things right or not. But yeah, that's Virgo. And Virgo, I say your color is blue because blue is a calm, it's like a calm color, and it's very like receptive and like alluring about the human body. Like blood isn't actually red until it shows, until like it comes out. Your blood is actually like blue. I don't know, like I thought that was like pretty cool of like how like Virgo is like internal workings and like blood is like inside your body and like it's actually blue. I thought that was pretty cool to like throw that in. Going on to water signs. So we'll start with Cancer. And Cancer, I had two. I'm like very debating on like which one they are. They kind of go hand in hand. So they are either gullible or in denial. I don't know which one would be like their worst trait. I think more in denial. I wrote down gullible, but I actually thought of the word in denial and I was like, wow, that one actually fits more for them. So I'm just gonna go with in denial. They're not falling for anything. They're more choosing not to believe in something that's true. Cancers are very like, they're all about their comfort and like what makes them comfortable about that life and like being at home and like living in a world that makes sense to them. If they do something which was wrong, they would like say, no, I never did that. No. Like they would just like be in denial of what they did. They like to live in their own world, in their own reality where everything is like butter cups and rainbows and butterflies and cupcakes. Everything nice and sweet and soft, and they create their own heaven so they can be in denial about what's happening in the world. Cancer's color would be white because that color is just pure, being pure and surrounding themselves with light and just being ethereal. They're very emotional. So yeah. Next would be Scorpio. Scorpio, your worst trait would be being paranoid. They're just paranoid people. People make them paranoid. They make themselves paranoid just because they see how dark the world can be. They're like stuck in that realm of darkness, being like intimate with people's privacy and like death itself. So they're afraid, like they can be like paranoid of someone killing them, someone being in their home. Let's say they smoked a joint or whatever and like they're paranoid about someone calling the cops on them. Like that, of just being paranoid, like that's just like Scorpio energy. But yeah, like that's usually caused by other people and also themselves. So it's kind of like they gotta like relax and like come down to earth. Scorpio's color would be black just because it's a dark color. They live in darkness. Next would be Pisces. Pisces, your worst trait would be being delusional. they can like break boundaries, other people's boundaries and stuff, and like go to the lengths of being so delusional where it's also hurting themselves, which is why they get like that, like being sick, physically sick or whatever, or like mentally sick. They go so far and doing things that will hurt themselves. Let's say living in this like reality where they believe that Johnny Cash is still alive, and they like keep that mindset. It would like cause like mental deterioration, becoming mentally ill, or like smoking so much heroin, whatever drug that's like really bad for you. They can like become physically sick too. And like it kind of like goes in hand in hand where like being physically sick is also being mentally sick, and like being mentally sick is also being physically sick. And like actually believing not brushing my teeth is keeping your teeth white. Like they'll create this like reason why they're not seeing their teeth as white. Like, you know, it's just like being delusional and like coming into like this like reality of like being really delusional, believing things that is not rational, not being rational with things, thinking things thoroughly, methodically, and understanding and comprehending and seeing the world for what it actually is, instead of believing in this world that is made up by themselves or other people, what other people say, and like believing in their delusions. That's like Pisces. Pisces color would be sea green. It's like water. Blue is like it's like a calm, cool, collected color, while green is like a grounded material color. So sea green is like a combination of blue and green. This like physical blue, like blue being materialized. It's like water, having a water presence, and like it weighs on other people, whether it be healing or hurting others. So depending on how you treat other people. So yeah, like those are like what I think the signs' worst traits are. These are like worst traits that can like affect people in a negative way. That being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Yeah. All right, bye.